Very good afternoon from the sports desk. The Stormers are targeting their second successive United Rugby Championship title. The Cape side hosting Munster in a 55,000 capacity crowd, in front of at least, and that's happening at the Cape Town Stadium this evening. Both teams have a lot of interest with the Springboks playing against Ireland in their World Cup pool match, and many of the players come from both camps. For the latest in the build-up to this titanic battle, we're joined live from the mother city by our sports reporter Justin Ford, of course, in the company of ENCA sports editor Vata Ngobeni. Gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. I can only but imagine just the atmosphere, what's in the air, what's in the Cape air right now in terms of anticipation, excitement, nerves, I would imagine, from much of the Cape Town crowd about what's set to happen today, where potentially history beckons.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Morena. I'll tell you what is in the air is a slight chill, and hence why you can notice that Vata's got his jacket on compared to me. Used to the Cape Town weather, out here in my short sleeve shirt. But with that being said, the action hopefully will heat up the stadium and the atmosphere as fans are allowed into the stadium a bit later on. At the moment, there's more support staff and vendors and seagulls in the stadium precinct than anything else. But with that being said, moving into the rugby action, absolutely, history does beckon for these Stormers. Amazing first season that they had in the URC, winning that. A lot of people deemed it to be a fluke, that they didn't deserve it. They've come through the second season in the URC with a bit of luck on their side to host a second final. Vata, yesterday you were part of the press conferences that took place with both teams. We'll start with the Stormers having had their one first. What is that camp like in terms of John Dobson and Stephen Kitsoff that you got to listen to yesterday?
Yeah, I think, Justin, the big takeout was the fact that they're trying to calm down their nerves. They're trying to manage the weight of expectation from their fans, and I think from South Africa in general, because I think the whole of South Africa will be rooting for them. But more than anything, it's the pressure of playing back-to-back finals and hosting them, and wanting your name again on that trophy, and it's something they were never able to do in the days of Super Rugby. And they spoke about the fact that this is the biggest game in Stormers history. They made finals in Super Rugby but never got to win the Super Rugby title, and for them to win now this intercontinental competition last season, I think really galvanized them, and it's probably the one thing that the Stormers need, but South African rugby needs, especially in the World Cup here.
I like that a lot, and ultimately the Stormers are representing South Africa, so that speaks through to what exactly it is that they are feeling at the moment, and that side pressure. Munster is a team we can call a bogey team for them. They've played them twice, lost to them twice. Many will argue that potentially Mani Lebak wasn't on form on that particular day in the defeat here at the Cape Town Stadium. And should that have gone his way, the result could have been different. But with that being said, history is out of the window right now. It all comes down to this particular match and making sure that the Stormers trump Munster. But that Munster team, a solid Irish team with some big internationals as part of their team, and they will definitely be looking to claim one up on the South African team.
No doubt. I think Peter O'Mani, the captain of Munster, mentioned that. He said history doesn't matter. The fact that we beat them last month here and broke a over 20 match unbeaten run for the Stormers in Cape Town is it's insignificant. They're chasing this trophy. They want it. They're so hungry for it, because the last time they won it was in 2011 under Paul O'Connell. They've won it 3 times, but I think this group of players, of Irish players, really want to stand up. I think they want to take away the metal from Leinster, who've dominated Irish rugby, and Ireland are the number 1 team in Test rugby. So again, this is not going to be an easy, I think, game for the Stormers. But more than anything, I think Munster themselves have got to get over the psychological barrier of again, not having won this tournament competition in a long time. But more than anything, the fact that they will look at it and say to themselves, we've beaten this team enough times in this competition for us to believe that we can actually win. So there's a lot of play, I think, swirling the heads of the Munster players. So they need to overcome their demons as well when it comes to that, and probably play their best game. I know 2 weeks ago, the semi-final, they did probably pull a rabbit out of their head playing their best game, but they just need to elevate their game again, because the Stormers team at home with the 55,000 people screaming for them, or 45,000 rather, because 5,000 Munster fans are here. Correct. It's going to be a really tall ask for them.
In short, emotion is one thing in a final, but it's added emotion for the Stormers with their captain, Steven Kitshoff, playing his final game before moving off to Ulster next year. What was his final words in his final captain's press conference yesterday?
The wonderful thing about Kitty is that he mentioned that he's had now 2 farewells. One in the quarterfinal, against the Bulls, and then one against Connacht. So he's all cried out. I think he's dealt with the emotions of that. And he spoke about how this week, the focus has just been on the game itself. He said his goodbyes to the fans in those 2 matches. And I think what's important for him is that he gets his name again on the stadium where it says, winners of 2023, Stormers captain Steven Kitshoff. And he's got wonderful memories. And he said, this is not the end. He'll probably come back again. We saw he had left and gone to play in France and then came back again. And he's been, I think, the cornerstone of the success of the Stormers team. So I think the emotions are all dealt with, and I think there'll be plenty of crying probably afterwards. Not just tears that he's leaving, but tears of joy after the winning the trophy.
Yeah, and I think, himself and Dobbo, they've created quite a special bond here at the Stormers. Having listened to Dobbo in the week, some radio interviews, he talks about he's convinced that Steven Kitshoff and his wife Amy will come back after 2 years. Dobbo has also mentioned that his liver can't handle it anymore. 2 farewells that you talk about. So there we have it. An exciting time awaits ahead of the 6:30 kickoff here at the DHL Stadium Arena, where hopefully the Stormers fans will get to celebrate another victory in the URC final and really just send off their captain in a very victorious manner.
There's always this thing that broadcasters are not allowed to choose sides, that there needs to be objectivity, but unfortunately this time around we're going to choose that side. We need the Stormers, John Dobson, Steven Kitshoff, to come back with that title. And by come back, of course, I mean to just keep it right where it has been for the last year. Gentlemen, I'll leave you there for now. Of course, I know you'll be talking to Nicole Kente for the duration of the afternoon as the match starts a little later on this evening. Justin Ford, ENCA Sports reporter, Vata Ngobeni, ENCA Sports editor, just essentially kicking off the scene setter for what is going to be happening a little later on in the URC final.